Hello guys, welcome all of you back with our database management system question set discussion series. Today we are going to discuss question set number 31. So let's get started. Here we have our question set 31 description and it says the bill book system is used to keep the information on the bills of the show store called earlier shoe center. This method is used for so long, but using this method will embrace the shop owners and employees. The accountant working in the shop pointed out to the shop owner the disadvantages of the bill book system. Disadvantages pointed out were the loss of bill books, damage to bill books, and the need for separate space for storing bill books. Because of these factors, the store owner realized that the bill book system is difficult to use and decided to use computer software. The software was developed by AI Soft, a software development company. You work as a senior software engineer at this company. You and your team are tasked with creating the database of this software. Create the required ER diagram for that. To do this, follow the instruction below. The name of the database as earlier shoe center. The first question is create a user table for storing the information of all the customers and all the suppliers in this store as shown below. And here we have our table name as user and the relevant column names. And user ID column must be primary key and auto increment, and they have given us the relevant data types and data lengths here. So let's go and create a ER diagram. To create the ER diagram, we are going to use MySQL Workbench software. From our MySQL Workbench software, we can go into File and then New Model. After that, it's going to come up to this window. So from here, we can double click on this MyDB name and we can change our database name. So the database name should be earlier shoe center. So let's rename it. After that, we can double click on this add diagram button and it's going to open up our ER diagram creating window. So first insert a table and double click on the table and we can edit the details of this table. Let's change the table name into user. After that, let's insert our first column name as user ID and its data type should be int and it should be primary key, and the primary key auto become an ordinal key, and after that it should be auto increment. After that, let's insert our second column as first name. Data type should be varchar and length should be 45 as the same. So let's enter our third column name as last name. This columns also data type should be varchar and length should be 45. After that, let's enter the next column name as contact number. And in here the data type should be varchar but the length should be 10. So let's change the length here as 10. After that, the last column name should be status. So its data type should be int. Let's change it into int data type. After that, we can click on this close button and here we have our user table. So let's go back. Here we have our second question as create a gender table for storing the gender of all the customers and all the suppliers in this store as shown below. And they have given us the table name as gender, and here we have our column names, data types and length. The column name gender ID should be primary key and it should be also auto increment column. So let's go and create this in our ER diagram. So let's insert another table and let's change its details as the name should be gender and first column name must be gender ID. and it should be auto increment and primary key. The second column is gender name and it should be Vacha and its data length must be 10. So let's change the data length. After that we can click on this close button. So here we have our second table as gender. So let's go back. Here we have our third question. It says create a table name user type to store the type of the software uses. To do so, use the instructions below and they have provided us with the necessary instruction. Table name must be user type and here we have our two columns as user type ID and user type name. User type ID column must be primary key and it should be auto increment and the data type int and the user type name must be data type vacha and length must be 45. So let's go and create this in our ER diagram. Let's insert another table and let's edit its details. So here we have our third table as user type. So let's go back. Here we have our fourth question as create a system login table to store the login detail of software users. And they have given us the instructions to create that table. The name should be system login. Here we have three columns. The login ID column must be primary key and auto increment and they have given us the necessary data types and necessary data lengths. So let's go and create this in our ER diagram. Let's insert another table and edit its details as the instructions shown above. So here we have our fourth table as system login. So let's go back. Here we have our fifth question as create a table called address to store the addresses of the software users. To do so, use the instructions below. The table name should be address and it has 4 columns and address ID column must be primary key and it must be auto increment column and they have given us the relevant data types and data lengths. So let's go and create this table in our ER diagram. So here we have our fifth table as address. So let's go back. Here we have our sixth question. It says create a table called city to store the cities of the software user's address. To do so, use the instructions below. And they have given us the instructions. The table name must be city and the city ID column must be primary key and auto increment and they have given us the necessary data types and data lengths. So let's go and create this table in our ER diagram. So here we have our city table. So let's go back. So guys, that's all for today. In our next video, let's discuss question set number 32. Until then, have a nice day. Thank you.